This is the last one. Fear of losing control. Now, the fear of losing control, this is the mother of all fear, right? This is what I like to call the root. If you just think about it, the fear of financial failure, what are you really fearing? You're fearing the loss of control in your finance. So really, everything that we've talked to up to this point has been more of a leaf and branch issue as opposed to the root. So what I'm saying basically is, if you're able to get straight to the root, which is the fear of losing control, then you're going to make that tree of fear wither from the roots up. You're chopping the legs right out from underneath them. So let's talk about how to overcome the fear of losing control. There's two different techniques. One of them is being okay with not having control in every situation, and the other is just being in control. So that's kind of debatable. I mean, are you really conquering your fear of losing control if you're actually just being in control most of the time? I don't really think so. But if you are in control of most of your situations, well, you're not giving that fear of losing control much fuel to work with. All right, so let's focus on that first one. Conquering the fear of losing control by being okay with losing control. The best advice I can give you on this, and it's something I haven't even mastered completely myself by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still something to pursue, and that is to be at peace in every situation, whether you have complete control over the situation or just a little bit of control over it, or absolutely none. When circumstances don't control your emotions and sense of well-being, I believe that's when you've truly mastered the art of happiness. All right, so let's talk a little bit about techniques. One of them is self-awareness. What usually happens to you when you're starting to get fearful or you're feeling anxiety? For me, my stomach will get a little bit tensed up, and these are things that I'm typically not consciously aware of until, at least I wasn't until I started trying to be consciously aware of them. But your stomach will start tensing up. You might slouch over a little bit. The tone of your voice might get a little bit, lower, more lethargic. You get the picture. The reason for being self-aware is so that you can, first off, know when fear is trying to take a hold of you, and second off, be able to attack it back, right? So how do we counterattack fear with self-awareness? Well, we pay attention to our body. Immediately, like when I start feeling fear, when I realize that my stomach's tensing up, or I'm slouching over, or especially when you have negative thoughts, those are a big one to pay attention to as well. The second I notice that, I nip it at the bud, right? I relax my stomach completely. And you gotta be okay with, if you got a little pooch in your stomach, which I can kind of get sometimes, whatever, does not matter. You just let it relax completely, let it pooch out if it's got to, right? And master your body language, right? Your body communicates to your mind. Like if you notice what just happened there, actually, when I straightened out, my voice became a little bit more bold, a little bit more confident. That wasn't something I had planned. That's just what happened. And that's what happens to you when you're being attacked by fear, and you counter it with positive body language. So sit up or stand up straight. Hold your head up high. Think positive thoughts. Think happy thoughts. Reinforce yourself with positive reinforcements. Use words. Don't be afraid to look in the mirror and talk to yourself. Don't be afraid to look in the mirror and say, you are amazing. You are beautiful. You are whatever it is, you need to tell yourself the truth, but whatever it is that brings back your sense of confidence and kills that fear completely. Another thing is breathing. Be aware of your breathing. So typically what happens with me when I start feeling any kind of fear is my breathing will get kind of off rhythm, and I'll have like a shallower breathing process, if that makes sense. And so what I have to do then is I have to take control of my breathing. Breathe in deep, relaxing your stomach, completely, and let it out slow. All right, this is almost a meditation. It is actually a meditative practice. It's a part of most meditation techniques is to breathe properly. It'll do wonders in conquering your fear of losing control. And the second way to conquer your fear of losing control is to be in control. And I don't really have a whole lot to say on that because I really think that first technique that we talked about is infinitely more important than this. But really, being in control of your finances is something that you definitely can do as a digital entrepreneur. And it's something that you kind of need to do, right? I know one of the toughest things about going from the traditional model of working for someone else, working hard, and basically putting money in someone else's pocket is the security. Basically, this is my belief. I believe that in America and in many other parts of the world, I think it's just a part of the human condition to be addicted to security, right? And so one of the reasons that it's so hard to get rid of that old mindset of working for someone from 9 to 5, 40 to 60 hours a week, putting the bulk of the money in their pocket and not having the freedom to travel the world is because of the security that the traditional model gives, right? You don't have to worry about when your next paycheck is coming because you know that paycheck is going to come week after week after week. And the chances of you getting fired are slim to none, right? You've got to do something stupid, just absolutely ridiculous. You almost have to purposely get fired in America. And so you have that security. Whereas when you become an entrepreneur, it doesn't have to be an online or digital entrepreneur. It could be, you could be starting any business. When you first start out, you feel the weight of that responsibility just kind of slowly crushing you if you let it. You've got a lot of responsibility on your shoulders to make ends meet. And you don't have that security that you used to have. But I kind of want to give you the light at the end of the tunnel there, because even as a business owner, and I should say especially as a business owner or a digital entrepreneur, you will have that sense of security. You will be able to take back that security after a period of time. After potentially failing a lot, eventually you will get the hang of it, and you will be successful, and you will have those clients that you can rely on for long periods of time, or simply the knowledge that even if you lose a client or if you lose a couple clients, you can get a new client within a week, right? That's how it is for me. Like I know for a fact that if I lose one of my clients right now, I will have a new client within a week, or I should say within 2 weeks. Fear of losing control is kind of the root of all the fears that we've talked about. And if you master that fear, then you've really kind of mastered all of them. And the way you do that is by mastering your emotions and your psychological well-being with the techniques that we just talked about, and also learning how to be in control, whether that's of your business or your social life, whatever it is. And that just takes deliberate practice and a firm grasp of reality. Because a lot of times what fear is simply a false reality that we need to kill. I'll be attacked with fears all the time. Fears that, oh man, you're going to lose your client, you're not doing good enough work, you're not smart enough, you're not diligent enough. All these silly things that try to cloud my mind and my judgment, and will if I let them. But what do? I go to the root and I cut it down. Because that's the only way you can deal with fear. That's the only way that you can master fear, is by heading straight to the root and burning it right from the ground up with the techniques that I've shared with you. Again, my name's Josh. If you liked the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.